Good morning, all. We are starting the event in 2 minutes.
The metaverse is here, and it's not only transforming how we see the world, but how we participate in it, from the factory floor to the meeting room. Said by Mr. Satya Nadella of Microsoft Corporation. Good morning to all. I'm Anna from the virtual event team of Passionate in Marketing. With great joy and immense delight, I feel privileged to extend my warm welcome to all present here for the event organized by Passionate in Marketing on the theme Marketers in Conversation Dive into Metaverse, powered by Maxit. Passionate in Marketing is one of India's fastest growing marketing and advertising news publishing platform for the marketing community. The platform has, to its credit, more than 25,000 articles and stories of more than 200 brands in the area of marketing, advertising, branding, sales and distribution, digital marketing, and so on. It has emerged as a preferred media publishing partner of top brands and PR agencies in India. It enjoys more than 1 lakh monthly impressions. Maxit consists of a group of management and technology experts with a passion for research, consulting, and training, and around 20 plus years of experience in varied domains like management, education, telecom and IT, financial services, media, online learning, and so on. Now, to begin with our session, I invite Mr. Arun K. Nair, Business Manager, Passionate in Marketing, to deliver the welcome speech.
Good morning, everyone. So as you all know, today is a very important day for Passionate in Marketing. We have the marketers in conversation on Dive into Metaverse, which is on the boom. Today, we have with us Mr. Amanjot Malhotra, Country Head of BTI, Mr. Sandrina Pola, Vice President, Guardian Link, Mr. Tamakna Ghosh, Managing Director, Trailer Park Group, APAC, Mr. Santosh R, co-founder and CMO, Eliver, to lead the conversation. On behalf of the Passionate in Marketing team, I may take this opportunity to extend a hearty welcome to the speakers for this event. We have the presence of representatives from various brands, PR agencies across the country. We express our jovial welcome to one and all. Next, I welcome the people from the industry, academicians from various reputed institutions across the country, and students from various institutions. A hearty welcome to one and all. May I take this opportunity to express a cordial welcome to the members of Maxed community, the team members of Passionate in Marketing, and all the participants to this event. Wishing you all a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I welcome you to this event as well. Let us begin the most awaited sessions of the day. The first session is by Mr. Amanjot Malhotra. Mr. Amanjot Malhotra, country head, Bitai, is a serial entrepreneur, a product specialist, and a growth hacker for startups. He has 5+ years of experience in designing UI, product development, SEO, digital marketing, growth hacking. He has experienced the startup culture for most of his career and has also spent time with multinationals. He believed in lean startup methodology as well as agile development for product management. He actively works with startups, SMEs, and helps them build a strong top line. He gives training and mentorship to new age entrepreneurs and works with them to convert their idea into a profitable business. Sir, it's indeed a great pleasure to have you here. Welcoming Mr. Amanjot.
Hi, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for a warm welcome, team Passionate in Marketing. I'm really happy to be here, and I'm so glad to see so many people on a Sunday morning joining the session. So I think let's get started. I'll not take much of a time. I think time is of high value these days. So I think the whole session is about Metaverse, and I think we need to get started about Metaverse. And I think most importantly, we need to understand what Metaverse is. And in a very simple terms, if I say that, we doing this session, we are in a Metaverse right now. So what we are going to see is going to be an evolution of this Metaverse. Like, because of COVID, we all started working in remote way, and that's because it was forced onto us. And the other thing is, we all realize that we can actually represent ourselves within a screen. So we're all looking at a screen, but at the same time we're interacting with other humans and in different environments. And this is going to evolve in the coming future, where we're going to see that avatars, we're going to create our own avatars, and we work in offices. We already seen that Mark Zuckerberg doing their annual meeting. So there will be a lot of examples where this is going to happen. And what I'm trying to say to you is that we are already living in a metaverse. It's just the start of it, and this is going to evolve in this decade. And we will see a lot of new technologies that will power the metaverse. And that's what the topic of this session is. So let's get started. I think, so what's Metaverse? Metaverse is basically a virtual space where users can exist as digital avatars. Right now, you and me are existing as like 2D avatars, but probably we'll move to 3D, and maybe we will also evolve to something which is more artificially created. We'll touch those topics later in this session. So the premise of the metaverse is that users can do everything in the virtual world that they can do in the real world and more. So, but however, the metaverse is still in its nascent stages, as we all know. But a lot of B2C companies have realized the potential of this opportunity, and they're trying to build their presence in the metaverse. And we are still far off from what we are trying to imagine metaverse is going to be. But let's see how much time we take to reach that, because it requires a lot of technologies to work together. So I think from a software experience perspective, we're already there in that sense, but from a hardware experience perspective and the hardware accessibility perspective, we're not there. So I think let's deep dive into some of the key technologies that power the metaverse. Starting from blockchain, which is very close to my heart. I've been working in blockchain for the past 4 years now. And I'm sure that everyone would have heard about IoT. And what IoT has taught us is that anything but security is the paramount. That is where blockchain comes into the picture. So especially with any service that exchanges data and stores users' private information, cryptocurrency and blockchain has emerged as a decentralized way to store and secure as well as authenticate digital data. And that is where blockchain is going to play a huge role in terms of, securing that data that we are creating. So there will be creators of the metaverse, there will be consumers of metaverse, there will be again businesses, there will be users. So all the information, and metaverse is going to create a lot of data also, because if you know that a image that you click from a picture from your smartphone is basically 2 or 3 MBs, but the video that you create is basically a few tens or hundreds of MBs. So metaverse is going to be a video kind of an experience. That is why it's going to create a lot of data. So we need to store that data in a very decentralized way, right? And with virtual environments, there will be introduction to virtual currencies. And that is why blockchain is a technology of choice for conducting transactions in the virtual world. We will not be able to pay our INR in the virtual world or the metaverse for, let's say, services. So we need a virtual currency for the virtual world. I hope you're able to imagine this. This is something we generally don't think about, but that's the way it is going to be. And with NFTs now becoming popular, blockchain is a secure way to record and confirm ownership of assets in the virtual world. So like you can own assets, you can sell assets, you can lend assets via NFTs. So smart contracts also rely on blockchain. These contracts trigger when a present condition occurs. Entities in the metaverse can also use them to code more agreement terms to it as the metaverse evolves. So besides NFTs and contracts, blockchain is also the technology of choice for securing your virtual world avatar and other personal information. Right now, we kind of rely on Facebook and other entities, but let's say if you want to secure your information, what you're doing in the metaverse, let's say you are creating a separate identity, doing a different set of activities, and you want to store that information in a secure way so that it does not go out, you can rely on blockchain as a technology. So blockchain as a technology is going to be playing a huge role in terms of development of metaverse. And that is why if you are looking to work in any way in metaverse, you should understand how blockchain works. Next, it's going to be augmented and virtual reality. I think everyone has heard of AR and VR, and it has been around for many years now, but it hasn't been extensively used for all the activities. Right now, it has been extensively used just for gaming experiences. We go to fancy malls and fancy places where we can just do some kind of AR and VR gaming, but it hasn't been used in terms of doing, let's say, a office meeting. So use of these technologies in metaverse is going to be obvious. And both the metaverse and immersive tech will continue to evolve as we move forward. As I told you before, that it's going to take the next 5 to 10 years for this evolution to happen. And with the advancements in wearable technology, like the watch that we are wearing, the glass concept which came earlier, phones are obviously there. You can expect that AR and VR will kind of come into our lives very much, and you can augment in VR tech with full body sensors to provide a full immersive experience. Like you can create your avatars, you can be there, you can be in their metaverse. Let's say somebody has created a metaverse, you just join your VR headset and you join that. I see that happening a lot in terms of amusement parks. I think you should all try that, by the way. And but one more thing to that is that the need for safe distancing has made VR more pressing in the last few years. As a result, several in-person events were VR enabled, allowing visitors to attend and interact with others at the event, just as they would do in the real life. So apart from gaming, industries such as fashion and travel have realized the potential of VR, and they've kind of become a gateway into specific offerings that VR is offering, and then they're trying to capitalize on this technology. Talking about AR is more an intuitive option for immersive experience. When we say AR, it's augmented reality. And what I mean to say is that it's creation. Augmented reality is creation. Virtual reality is basically like portrayal of what is happening in the real world into the digital world. So despite being reasonably nascent, it's a very, very intuitive option for immersive experiences. And instead of entirely virtual environment, augmented reality overlays virtual elements on the user's actual life surroundings. Like you can put elements over your reality. So that's another example. You can see, like, for example, you're trying to do your interior. So you can just scan your empty flat and you can start putting in furniture. How does it look? You don't need to, you can be your own interior designer. You can do some experimentation and everything. So that's a practical use case of augmented reality. And I think IKEA does that. IKEA is a brand which has already capitalized on it. So what they've done is they've created an application in which lets users visualize IKEA furniture and interior design products in their living environments, which is a big application for this. So these are the two most commonly known technologies in terms of metaverse. But we will also touch base on the terms of infrastructure level technologies which are required in terms of developing a good metaverse experience. Moving on to the next topic is hybrid and distributed cloud environments. So as we move to a 3D environment, we need to host 3D environments which require sizable computing and storage resources. So the adoption of cloud computing makes perfect sense. Depending upon the adoption of the metaverse and its offerings, cloud computing providers such as AWS, Azure, Oracle Cloud, and Google Cloud platforms may provide a more optimized cloud environment for the metaverse. And I think they are already onto it. They're already working on solutions like that. But one of the most significant challenges that these cloud providers are going to face is that how do they ensure that the bandwidth is there for the metaverse experience and there are no interruptions in the user experience, which kind of adversely affect the user experience. So they have to figure out ways like to deliver a good user experience. Otherwise, the whole metaverse will not be experienced by users. So yeah, that's one more technology in terms of the infrastructure level. And for example, hybrid cloud architectures could secure users' data by storing it on private servers within their country borders. With a local infrastructure presence, users would experience low latency and a better experience. So generally what happens is, if this is what we do in the Web2 world also, like when we were building Web2 products, we used to select Indian servers if you're serving Indian audience, because if you are actually selecting US-based servers, then you will face latency issues, which is not good for user experience. Moving on, I think one other point that we're going to see a lot is decentralized computing. As we all are owning a system, a computer and a smartphone, and they are improving day by day. I don't know if you're aware of the whole transistor size process, which is nanometers. It's being reduced day by day, and computers are becoming super powerful. So the mobile processor that I have right now is actually much more powerful than my 5-year-old computer that I used to have that time. So when I talk about decentralized computing, what I mean to say is that you could become a validator in a blockchain. What I mean is that you could participate in how a blockchain works. You can also participate in terms of how a metaverse works with your phone. And you will see a lot of applications coming up which will capitalize.
Sir, you are muted.
Sorry. Hi. Sorry for the interruption, guys. Okay, moving on. So the last and the most important technology, as per me, which is going to play a huge role in terms of metaverse development, is going to be artificial intelligence. Because as we all discussed, we are thinking about, transferring a real experience into a digital experience. But let's say we create a new world altogether. How do we do that? I think almost everyone would have seen the movie Inception, where the is actually architecting new worlds. That's basically artificial intelligence. If you want to just simplify and understand that what AI is going to be in terms of metaverse, that's it. So the core intent behind metaverse is to deliver an immersive experience, and users will also expect the same actions they do in real life to be available in the metaverse. And these actions include the ability to read text, content analysis, speech processing, and computer vision. In addition, users will want to interact with objects and other users in the metaverse. But users can also create and modify their avatars in the metaverse. And this functionality will require scanning and understanding 2D and 3D images from the real world. A job made for machine learning algorithms, which we're already doing right now. The face unlock and everything is being. So the AI is reading that it's me, who's the owner of the phone, and then they kind of match it to the data points that they have already stored in there. And then if it's yes, then they kind of unlock the phone. That's some part of it. Let's say I extend it to the whole body scanning. And if you look at other deeper security securities that are implemented in terms of worlds, they do the retina scan also, which is very unique. So we'll see deeper and deeper, and that will become more accessible to everyone. So as you see, the face unlock feature used to be like a big thing maybe 10 years back, but now it's become almost everyone is available. So you will see a lot of more high level securities coming to you via a smartphone. That's why decentralized computing is also important. So natural language recognition can make the experience more intuitive and enable users to interact with the 3D world. We are already doing that with Siri, with the Google Assistant, we are already doing that, right? And AI-driven bots and other automated assistants can help us as helpers of this new world, guiding users when they need assistance. So imagine you enter a metaverse and you want to do something, so you will probably speak to them instead of writing something or anything. So you will probably have, so you will have your own avatar, your assistant will have your own avatar. So it will be like that. The other aspect of AI is that, let's say I am a metaverse creator. I can code a metaverse in such a way that it keeps on evolving. Let's say I designed a galaxy which is designed to evolve. As you know that Milky Way galaxy is expanding, ever expanding. I can actually code the same thing into the metaverse, and when people start using metaverse, the metaverse is evolving as per the interaction. So if you imagine Earth as a metaverse, then Earth has evolved from, let's say, the past 20,000 years that it has been come into existence, and it has seen so many things. So you can actually code all these things into a metaverse, and that could be an experience. So just a food for thought. Just before I wrap it up, just think about it, like the whole world, the Earth, and everything. Your home is basically a metaverse. If you just look at it from that perspective, it's evolving on a constant basis. But instead of you doing the actions, the artificial intelligence or the code or the algorithm behind it will define the metaverse code. So that's pretty much it from my session. I do not want to stretch it off, but these are the 5 technologies that you need to figure it out in terms of metaverse, and all of them are evolving independently. We have decentralized computing. AI is already evolving as we create more and more smart programs. Hybrid and distributed cloud environments are obviously been there for a while. Augmented and virtual reality have kicked off. Somehow we are dependent on the headsets and the technologies where we can gather the points to create that experience. And blockchain has also evolved in the past decade or so. It has become very efficient. Right now, a single transaction takes less than $1. 10 cents is the transaction cost right now, which is very nice in terms of a decentralized database. So it's becoming more and more accessible to almost everyone who's living in this world. So that's pretty much it, guys. Happy to take any questions if we are taking questions.
Thank you so much, sir. It was a very enlightening session. I'm sure the participants have benefited from the valuable insights that you have shared. We can now have the question answer session. Anyone in the audience would like to raise any questions, please raise your hand. seems like we have a question. Atira, can you please unmute?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
So, I have a question. What new dimension will the metaverse open for sustainability?
For sustainability, that's a good question, actually. So I think if you look at metaverse is going to offer you new experiences. So probably we need to, if let's say, I'll give you a particular example in that sense. Let's say I want to try new clothes. I want to try new experiences. Instead of buying those new clothes from the market, and which will require a lot of production, there's a lot of water being wasted for the same thing and everything, the colors being thrown in the oceans, whatnot. Like every jeans that we buy, think we kind of consume almost 50 or 100 liters of water for that. So what I can say is that we can actually experience new fashion in the metaverse without actually ruining the environment. So sustainability wise, that wise. And let's say we consider travel also. We want to travel. Every travel requires jet fuel being burned, cabs and everything. All that can be avoided, and you can experience travel sitting at your. So it's actually very sustainable. All it will require is electricity, and I think that will be not that much. Will be minimalistic as compared to what we are consuming in terms of the real world.
Okay, sir. I think we have a second question from Mr. Aman Kumar. Can you please unmute?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, I have two questions. So the first question is around that as of now, we are seeing that every brand or every organization is building their own metaverse platforms. So from a consumer perspective, I have to, like, if I want to get an immersive experience of that particular platform, I have to come into that platform with that particular avatar. But if we, as you said in the initial stages only, that metaverse is just the reality in the virtual world, sort of that thing. So our reality is only one reality, right? The world is one, we can go into one. But do you think that metaverse will be able to realize its full potential, having given that every organization is building its own platform, and from the user perspective, it is very much inconvenient to go through several platforms. So don't you think that there should be one platform where every developer should have their own spaces and create their own metaverse?
So Aman, I think it's a good question, but what my perspective is that the world is diverse. Everything is diverse here. So if you look at blockchains also, we have, I think, more than 50 blockchains, right? Everyone is trying to solve their problems in a different way. Some work, some don't work, and which don't work, which kind of become a lesson in terms of the next evolution. So if you look at it, recently there were a few blockchains which were introduced in the market, namely Aptos and Sui. So those are basically trying to improve on the current set of blockchains. So if you look at metaverse, you will see a lot of blockchain metaverses coming into the picture. Every brand will try to create their own metaverse. But I think it's good for users. Users will have a lot of choice. They will try out different metaverses, and the metaverse they like the most, they will start using that most. So it's like, it's going to be similar, like let's say travel destinations. Let's imagine you are a traveler, you are a avid traveler, and then every country likes to promote that. Some says that fly Dubai, Maldives, and all these. These are basically, if imagine them as a metaverse. Imagine that, right? They will all have different things to offer, different things. So you would like to experience all these metaverses on your own, and then probably you will define that you're a beach person or a mountain person, and you will select that, and you will probably travel to similar places like that. So it's good, I would say that it's good to have options as users, because we all are different. You are different from me, and I'm different from Anna, and like almost everyone is different. So it's good to have options. Let them discover what they want. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Sir, my one more question was regarding. Hello, am I audible, sir?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yes, sir. So my next question was around that if you could tell about some of the opportunities and the major challenges which metaverse as a technology is going to face in the coming years.
I think the biggest challenge is going to be the AR and VR headset availability. Right now, they're around $300, and not everyone can afford them. So the moment we bring the cost down of that and make it accessible to everyone, and almost everyone owns it, the more people enter the metaverse, the faster the metaverse will develop. Like you're getting a point. So that's very important in terms of that aspect. Other than that, we still don't have the bandwidth to provide metaverse experiences all over the world. That's another challenge. The third challenge is could be making people aware of the advantages and disadvantages of metaverse, because it could also be a life-altering experience for some people, and we have to be cautious about that. So yes, it's the same way what internet was like 20 years back.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Aman. I think we have another question. Aditya Rao, could you please unmute?
Good morning, sir. I'm Aditya Rao from Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham. So my question is about how is metaverse going to contribute in tourism sector?
So I think as we discussed, it's going to be, so let's say I will give you an example. Let's say you want to travel with your friends to a place. How do you decide right now? You basically go to a few websites, Trivago, Make My Trip, and all these types, and you just see reviews and pictures and everything. Imagine those pictures taking a 3D form, and you'll experience those things via a VR headset, and then you decide. So you will make a better decision in that sense. So I'm just simplifying your question. It's going to be like that, and you will and the other thing is going to be experience. Let's say, because traveling to that place and spending that much money, it will be probably a fraction of its cost to do it in the virtual world. So that's why it's going to be multiple ways. Travel industry is going to be disrupted multiple ways in that sense.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Aditya. Thank you, sir, again for answering all the questions and for the session. Moving on to the next session. Moving on to the next session. Ms. Sandrina is the new age millennial fashion trendsetter who is a crypto geek herself. She has worked with some of the well-known brands such as FedEx, HCL, Four Seasons, Sky Plus for business development, and as a human resource strategist and VP at Fuse Global. Ms. Sandrina Paula has a master's degree in international human resource management from BEBS, Barcelona Executive Business School, and a bachelor's degree in liberal arts from St. Mary's College. She is currently serving as the vice president of Guardian Link. Inviting Ms. Sandrina to deliver her thoughts on Metaverse. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you, Amanjot, for an insightful session. And thank you, Team Passionate in Marketing, for having us here. I would like to start off by a big welcome to all the listeners tuning in. Again, my name is Sandrina. I had the international partnerships with Guardian, and which is Guardian Link is an NFT ecosystem company. We work with finding brands, artists, musicians, and gaming firms. So to give a brief introduction, when it comes down to the history of NFT hype in India, we were the first one to launch NFT with none other than Amitabh Bachchan. So until now, we've done about 8 different NFT drops, and our cricket drop being the most recent drop. And we've been in this space for quite long to know that, NFTs, Metaverse is the future, and the digital assets revolution is happening towards within us. Before I begin jumping into the applications of Metaverse in business, I would like to recall the context of the Metaverse as already explained by Mr. Amanjot here. But until now, we have not had any fixed definition, but I would like to think of the Metaverse as a continuation of where, tech was headed prior to COVID. I would say that we all have real life instances when we have, Instagram, we have emails, we have messages, and then there's our friends, the real life activity that we participate in. And there's a massive opportunity for an intersection between these two. And that's where I, believe that the metaverse comes in. So it's not just merely an entity, or I would say a technology that can be owned by any single organization, but rather it would be more of a collective created, and it will be managed and optimized by several organizations, which is in a decentralized manner. And this is the reason that, the possible business applications in metaverse are so exciting, and they're full of, never seen before possibilities. And I would like to address to the main topic of discussion, where I would reverse it to a more simpler question. So why are businesses and brands moving towards the metaverse? Is it purely just the hype of it, or, where Gucci got into it, so Prada will get into it? People think, maybe it's just the hype, but let me address this by probably putting this thought into your head. Are you going to take risks if you are a business owner? Yes, no, maybe, perhaps. I think we all have our consequences to measure, right? But I'm presuming it's mostly a yes. We never know until we try. That's what I feel. So in this case, let's try to understand how business in the metaverse would work. I'll probably be using an example of a fashion brand that I'm currently working with in many. So this brand has plans to launch its new product in this space, but chooses not to undergo certain risks, probably due to XYZ reasons. Now, thanks to the metaverse, the brand can set up its stores in various parts of the metaverse, say Decentraland, and it can create digital wearable assets that can be sold and bought by various NFT holders. So in doing this, not only does the brand generate business digitally, or I'm hearing people. So in doing this, not only the brand can generate business digitally, but the brand can also learn so much about its customers, and like a whole 360 degree, and can save up so much time and cost by launching its product digitally first as a test, rather than launching it in the physical stores. In other term, you may have already heard of this. It's also called as a digital twin operation, where the benefit of creating a digital twin, which is in the metaverse, you can use this to run tests and scenarios on the digital twin without actually affecting the business of the original. So business in the metaverse is a perfect place to house digital twins for collaboration, for brainstorming, without wasting any physical space or materials. And coming into the business, creating a hype in the metaverse, according to Goldman Sachs, which is, by the way, an American investment bank, it has estimated around 8 trillion opportunity in 5 years, which is in dollars. So the metaverse aims to create a new economy for all, irrespective of, I would say, nationality, as compared to the real world, where there are obstacles regarding visas and regarding work permits. But with businesses being established in the metaverse, wealth will be generated for all, traded, and there would be an increase opportunity with different currency yet to be connected to the real world money. But we are also now seeing businesses being formed, offices are being built in a metaverse. A lot of new information are coming up, which becomes so hard for us as well, being in this space, to catch up. And job interviews will also be conducted in the metaverse world. And some of the most famous hype that created that brands has established, which is one being Adidas, who has launched the NFTs partnered with the Bored Apes, which I'm sure all of you must have heard this. And they also purchased land on Sandbox, which is, again, a virtual real estate firm. against in the fashion sense, that's where I particularly dwell in because I work with a lot of fashion brands. So Gucci has also worked with a lot of, has collaborated with this game developer called Roblox, and it wants to sell its goods in the metaverse. And people are also earning a lot of, I would say, wealth through it because they found a way to use their skills. And recently I read that, an 18-year-old as well designer sold more than about, I would say 3 million in just virtual footwear, which, and that too, which is very less than 7 minutes. So it's very a quick way to make. And all in all, the metaverse is the future of human connections. When I say future, it is because we are coexisting. We're living in the Gen Z generation in which, we've seen, I think, I have a younger brother, he spends his entire time on his cell phone. And I think a lot of 7-year-old out there would spend most of his or her time on the phone and the internet. Already, marriages are being conducted in the metaverse, and we at Guardian as well have powered Asia's first metaverse wedding. This was last year. And some of the biggest, tech companies, which we all read in the news today, Apple, Facebook, Google, Microsoft, and all these other tech giants are now spending billions of dollars to create what they would call, I would say, the next version of the internet by combining, as Manjot said, the powers of, AR, VR headsets, smartphones, personal computers, and cloud connected service to provide a very easy, immersive experience to all the users, and enabling these users to meet, to interact, to carry business in a virtual environment, which I would say is the metaverse. And jumping more into the business side, we are both a B2B and a B2C enterprise. So the metaverse does provide a large scale potential opportunity and growth, within the meta economy itself. And we've all talked about, the various business models. I mean, we've come across them through the metaverse, such as the biggest one, I would say, is gaming, which has the highest utility of usage and also revenue. And we have, brand having the experience, we have entertainment, we have concerts, we have e-commerce. All of these are enabled by NFTs, which happen to be in my domain. Now, NFTs are the key here, as they are the first verifiable digital ownership, which can prove ownership in the internet. Now, NFTs can open up a lot of opportunities, I would say, like you now can own ownership of artwork, ownership of tickets, game assets, land even. And all of these are enabled by NFTs, as it allows to prove the true ownership of digital assets. So yes, NFTs does play an important role in the metaverse. As you own NFTs, they function as the access key to the metaverse, while also allowing you to trade in it, to rent, to hold, to stake it. And every asset inside the metaverse can be made into an NFT as well. So the hype, around the metaverse is largely focused on basically consumer applications, but enterprise will lead this charge, and it's estimated that by 2023 all of this will be established. So let's probably dive deep into the applications of the metaverse. First of all, we've seen that there's a lot of tests being run out now by Facebook, Meta, and what Meta envision is that it will enhance the social media experience, because right now what we have with our current social media platform, which is again Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, etc. All of these are all 2D platforms, when the users are only seeing a screen and the content that is being displayed, and the interaction before, I remember we would just spoke to our friends, but now it's limited to liking, to commenting, to sharing, which will be, all of this would immensely change once, the metaverse kicks in. There's also a lot of opportunities in the advertising, because the metaverse will be a golden ticket for businesses to advertise their products, because we have a lot of active users on a daily basis. Just like, the physical world, the virtual world will also have this infinite space to promote products and services. There will be virtual concerts and events that business can sponsor, just like how they are doing in the current life, and to increase their visibility. There'll also be a creation for new products. Now, by this I mean, users can create their own avatars and decide what the avatars wear and how the avatar would look like. The metaverse space usually resembles exactly the physical locations, so users can feel more connected, and businesses can leverage from it to sell this digital products, starting from clothing to software applications. And as mentioned previously, businesses like Nike are preparing to launch their digital products. Most importantly, we all know about the real estate, but I think the most promising entry in the metaverse applications, it directly targets towards the real estate sector. Why? Because anyone can buy a piece of land in the metaverse. And VR is one of the significant technologies for driving experience in the metaverse, because with VR, you can have this realistic and a very immersive experience, which, a real estate agent can also provide to its clients. And this, strength can work in favor of the metaverse applications. For example, like the real estate agents can leverage and earn so much with using just the power of VR for offerings and immersive, I would say land tours and selling various lands across the metaverse just by sitting in the comfort of one's home. And another important point, education, business, colleges will also be global to all, because of the fact that, virtual reality can produce so much of incredible experiences that never it can be experienced in real life, because wearing these VR headset exposes a learner to high quality representations that can positively impact a learner's life. I mean, we all love watching 3D action movies. Similarly, just imagine with the usage of this technology, students who are probably not so keen to study would probably be more motivated to learn. Traditional teaching approaches will never, attain such a high level of effectiveness, interaction, and all of this, regardless of the age, students will always choose to sit and watch something rather than reading it. And in terms of healthcare infrastructure, the best example of metaverse applications in the healthcare sector refers to the use of AR again, augmented reality, which has emerged as this big vital technology for empowering the skills, the knowledge within the medical field. I recently came across Yashoda Hospitals, which is in Hyderabad. They've also purchased a plot of land in the Central Land, which is again the most popular metaverse platform. Now, what Yashoda intends to do is, it wants to offer healthcare services to the people in the metaverse and also create employment for the metaverse as well. And I think in talking about other points like manufacturing, as one of the top metaverse technologies, again, all this, we need AR and VR applications can help in, training employees on safety procedures, before actually taking the risk of using the product. As a result, all of this metaverse applications can, contribute a lot to the manufacturing world, and hence, it can help better the products in the long run. So we've talked about some of the business applications, but if you're wondering about, the mode of payment in the metaverse, well, right now, since the metaverse on blockchain, cryptocurrencies, as we all know, uses the same technology. Therefore, it will be the most popular form of payment in the metaverse because, using this cryptocurrency, it would be simple. It would be most convenient, easy, least expensive method to grow on this global metaverse space. Of course, fiat too works, but you never know what taxation may hold using fiat, but a user can always use cryptocurrencies because it's meant to trade digitally at any stores, regardless of where it's located. So you'll not waste any money on international transaction costs, and most of the stores in the metaverse will accept cryptocurrencies. And in conclusion, I would like to say that there will be questions around, you guys have, I'm sure you have a lot of questions, but again, like there will be questions around, the usage and potential of the metaverse, with also, people viewing it as I've mentioned earlier, as a hype, or is it merely a rebrand version to gaming platforms and so on. But, however, I do not think that, that skepticism and belief that the metaverse has the potential to be the next game changer, of the internet. From a business perspective, again, just as it became crucially important to adopt and adapt to the social Web 2 nature, promoting on Instagram, doing business on TikTok, it appears that, in order to survive in the Web 3, we have to do the exact same thing of how we survived in Web 2, but merely just moving our focus to Web 3, which is entering the metaverse, because, this would provide us high ownership of reach due to its immersive high users and its importance and relevance. So again, to conclude, the reasons why brands should consider, entering the universe, it includes, the various reach towards young targeted audience. There will be brand immersion. There would be a lot of various other opportunities that everyone can come together in this immersive space. And it's a huge platform for brands who wants to grow into this space. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now we can have a question answer session. Anyone in the audience would like to raise any questions, please raise your hand. Okay, Madhvi, can you please unmute?
Yeah. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
How will the metaverse unfold and transform the enterprise?
See, the metaverse, as I mentioned, is still very new and nascent at this stage, and for businesses to unfold, people are jumping into the metaverse of actually testing the water out there, and I'm sure that within this year to come, we'll see a lot of new adaptations. It all comes down to adoption at the end of the day. More users adapt to it, there'll be success for sure for the businesses. So it all depends down on education. And again, it depends down on the adoption.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Madhvi. We have another question from Arati Jayakumar. Can you please unmute?
Yes. Hi, ma'am. Ma'am, I would like to ask you that how the metaverse will reframe human-centered experiences.
How would the metaverse, I'm sorry, what?
Reframe the human-centered experiences.
How would the metaverse reframe the human center? Good question. I've not really thought about it, because right now we've all personally, I mean, I've just worked with brands entering, the metaverse, brands launching their digital outlets in the metaverse, and building gaming inside the metaverse. But I would like to take it offline. I mean, like if I didn't think I quite got what you mean. I'm sorry. You are saying, is there an opportunity for humans?
Ma'am, I meant how metaverse will bring a change or like a difference to the experiences which humans face directly, like which is centered on humans and how we interact.
COVID has changed everything, right? I mean, every one of us has suffered a lot. Lost some friends as well during COVID, and everyone has moved towards, online platform where we meet friends online, we talk to them online, we chat, and there's not been much of interaction. And because of the hype that, people are seeing that, okay, we can exist online. This is why, businesses and as well as consumers has really focused on moving, adapting to the online life is what I would say. And it's important that, we need to really try to coexist, because again, I've mentioned that we are in between the Gen Z world, and they shop from the phone, they order food from the phone, everything they do is around their phone, how they look, applying filters to their actual photographs, and everything is like a representation of what you look digitally. They would want to carry that in how they look in the real life. So hence it has really impacted humans in a way that we are now slowly adapting to it. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes,
Thank you,
ma'am, yes,
Arati.
thank you.
Thank you, Arati. We have another question from Rishmita Ravi. Can you please unmute?
Good morning, ma'am. I would like to know what are some of the common commercial models of companies through metaverse.
The commercial models of companies?
Yes, ma'am.
If I got it right, you want to know what businesses are doing with what type of business, what type of models are companies working in, correct?
Exactly.
Okay, right now, there's more of what I would tell you what we do in Guardian, when it comes to working in terms of businesses. So we have of course, the first thing is the mode of payment, like people pay in for the technology that they use. And other than that, there's also, people partnering, which is, Nike would partner with the Bored Ape, or Adidas would partner with the Bored Ape. So there's a lot of, the stage is so new that, people merely just talk about being partners, wherein NFT market agencies as well, we would probably partner to bring in, a hype around. It's more of celebrating, it's more of sharing this vision of Web3 and educating, because we know that this platform is at a very, national stage, and as well as I've had a lot of meetings as well with automobiles industry, especially, they're very keen to enter into this space, and they want to build, they want to, execute their business and be part of the Web3 community, be part of the metaverse. And it's more of like a partnership model is what most brands are merely working in, where one promotes the other. Other than that, there's always, mode of payment. But from what I've seen so far throughout what I've dealt with in partnerships, we try to figure out and work on more of a barter system is what I would say. Anything else?
Thank you, ma'am. I think that's it.
Okay.
Okay, that's it, ma'am. Thank you so much for sharing your valuable insight.
Thank you.
Moving on. Being a Prime Video and Disney India veteran, Mr. Tamakna Ghosh has joined Trailer Park Group as Managing Director of APAC. Throughout his 16-plus year career, Mr. Ghosh has identified and pursued opportunities at a very early stage to build brands and teams from the ground up. A keen observer of consumer behavioral changes in entertainment consumption, Mr. Ghosh was one of the earliest members of the Prime Video India leadership team. He was instrumental in bolstering the growth of Prime Video India amongst Indian audiences through memorable marketing campaigns and best-in-class 360 creative strategy. Prime Video underwent explosive growth and played a crucial role in building the streaming ecosystem in the country. Under his leadership at Disney Studios India, the Marvel superhero universe was localized into multiple Indian languages, becoming a household name. Mr. Tamakna is an engineer and an MBA and takes pride in belonging to the alma mater of one of the world's most prestigious engineering institutions, IIT Kharagpur. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Anna. I'm really happy to be spending my Sunday morning with such great company here. Thanks to Amanjot, thanks to Sandrina for really insightful discussion on Metaverse. I think I in fact learned a lot from these last two sessions. I'm not a Metaverse expert, and I have spent all of my life building campaigns. So what really appeals to me is this consumer behavior and how people interact and people look at new technology and how it impacts their lives. So a lot of things Sandrina really spoke about the businesses in Metaverse. I also want to share my thinking in how Metaverse is going to shape the business of tomorrow. But I want to take a slightly different approach of just how consumers think about and how that will impact their lives. Because at the end of the day, tech is just a means, but what is important is how it applies to all of our lives, right? So I think without going much into the tech side of things, of how what in fact Amanjot did a really good job of explaining how Metaverse will work, what exactly Metaverse is. At the center of all of it is nothing more than connections, right? Today, all of us are on social media, all of us are on TikTok, all of us are on Instagram. Why? Because it's the human need to feel connected. We are always on the move. We are all busy in our own lives. As our busy life have increased, as we have started focusing on our work more than any time, because India is on a growth trajectory, and that is all because of each and every one of us was working hard to kind of get our country up there. So at that point in time, for an economy like this, I think when all of us are so busy, it is one of the reasons why we all want to be connected. And this is happening all across the world, and India is on the forefront because and you'll see all of these data points where reels in Instagram, or whether it is gaming or esports, India is always at the top spot, right? That's because it's all about getting connected and how we want connections with people around us, right? So at the end of the day, what will Metaverse do? At the end of the day, Metaverse will actually, help us connect to a broader audience through. So when I say us, it means companies, but also people, right? Connection. So you may ask, Instagram, all the social media platform also helps us get connected. So what is new in metaverse? I think the most important difference is immersive, right? So today you pick up an Oculus and you get into Horizon. That's one of the software that is developed by Meta, and you can get into a boardroom with 20 more people in a virtual environment, maybe set in Switzerland or maybe in Norway, like I am right now in the background, right? And you can have discussion sessions with whiteboard, where you can actually feel like you are in a boardroom while being in your house, right? I don't know how many of you have used an Oculus, but an Oculus is a device which actually you wear. It's a headset. It's one of the companies, it's Facebook's own headset, where you wear it and you completely get transported into a different world, right? So it actually, at the end of the day, all of this is enabled by the next version of the internet, which is Web3. And I don't want to spend too much time in the tech of it. Just from a customer point of view, it is how we interact today on a flat screen smartphone, how that will be revolutionized gradually with the entire immersive experience, right? So like this entire piece of immersion and the entire piece of new generation of the new way of internet is actually because of three things and the way to move ahead, right? So one is there's a rise in the tech wave, right? So which means that new technologies are getting developed and new technologies will pave the way towards better experiences and gamification, right? So we heard Sandrina talking about how games and entertainment will be revolutionized, right? And being a part, having spent almost 16 plus years in entertainment and now gaming, I think what I can clearly say is that we have just scratched the surface. I think it's pretty exciting to be living in this era where technology is just making our lives easier and in a more wholesome way. Like I don't know how many of you have watched this movie called Ready Player One, or maybe something like a Minority Report or a Free Guy, starring Ryan Reynolds. All of these films actually talk about gamification, AI, and virtual reality, right? So it's basically the world has no limit. It's basically you will get transported into a completely different world where you experience something that you won't experience in a real world, right? And also something that you'll experience staying in one place in your home. So for example, when COVID hit, when all of us were struggling to get used to this, 2D screen in front of us on Zoom calls or Google Meet calls, somewhere technology and tech scientists and evangelists were actually working on how to break the barriers and how to kind of really pave the way to a new way of experiencing interaction, right? So having said all of this, I think I will talk a little bit more about what are the business opportunities and what are some of the pillars of business that will really help, first of all, driving this technology, and second, using this, right? And how do you build experiences using this technology? There are three most important things to remember when you talk about what kind of business will flourish, right? And they are dependent on three things. One is they should be practical, they should be possible, and they should be feasible, right? Three things. As you all know that today we are just starting off into talking about what in experiencing what metaverse is, and you will see there are hundreds of articles that have come in where people are saying that, hey, you know what, metaverse and Mark Zuckerberg came in with a huge promise of metaverse, but look at the quality of graphics, look at the quality of experience. We all need to understand that it's a beginning. Everything starts with a humble beginning. Creating the entire experience requires huge amount of computing power, requires huge amount of graphical work that goes in, because imagine you are transported into the world of Jurassic Park, for example, right? You know that how that entire Jurassic Park experience is created is actually thousands and thousands of hours of work on 3D modeling, animation, VFX, CGI. All of that requires really, really hardcore computing power, right? And also remember, when you are doing all of this in over the internet, it also requires servers, right? So hence, it brings me to the point that the three businesses that I believe will really be really important for the growth of metaverse and also the experience is primarily divided into three segments: hardware, software, and engines, right? For example, hardware, headsets, right? Today, if you pick up an Oculus and if you start wearing it, I mean, personally, if you ask me, I can't wear an Oculus more than 10 minutes. Like, it's not only heavy, but it is also like cumbersome to kind of wear it, in terms of you can get a vertigo. You just get so much, if you have to spend so much time getting used to it, and somewhere it becomes a bothering. So the most important tech challenge is how to make headsets first affordable, because Oculus is expensive. And second, how do you make it simple? Do you want to wear that heavy thing on your head, or can it be a simple glass, right? Those are all technological advancements, right? Second, smartphone. Smartphone is expanding and like moving up the tech wave every year. Like every year, Android and Apple devices are just becoming more and more intelligent. The AI in them is just becoming more intelligent. Like, talking about AI, if you look at what engines like Midjourney or DALL-E, these are basically AI generated algorithms which help make artworks and experiences or video in a very, very automated manner, right? All of this requires high-end computers, which means that computing power, chips, all of this needs, these are business verticals which actually are in a continuous spree of advancement to kind of fuel and bolster this experience of metaverse. The fourth being cloud connected servers. As Amanjot said, like, huge amount of data goes into kind of building all of this and creating this experience on an internet. It requires huge amount of data, huge amount of cloud connected servers, right? And the second being network stability. Like, we are coming into the domain of 5G. 5G will also give into 5G plus, 6G, whatever those naming conventions are, which means that gradually everything would be, the moment you think, it's right on your fingertip at a super high speed. And that's what makes this experience of metaverse really, really seamless, right? So, as I said, the technology to access metaverse, which means that equipments that create immersive experience, is a great way, is where businesses will definitely flourish. And every tech company, whether it is Apple, whether it is Facebook, whether it is Google or Microsoft, they have this entire team dedicated to work on this technology. Having come from the entertainment background, having spent 16 years just building entertainment, I think I can't agree more to the fact that metaverse will actually revolutionize entertainment, and it's already started doing that, right? When I say entertainment, it's about entertainment and gaming. Gaming is also a form of entertainment, right? So not only experience of entertainment, but also creation. So, for example, there are engines being created, and two of those engines are called Unreal Engine 5 and Unity. These are technologies that actually help in creating seamless experiences of world in our films and games, right? So, for example, if you look at this film called Matrix, right? All the stuff that you see creating in CGI are actually created in this engine called Unreal Engine. What Unreal Engine actually helps you do is, for example, imagine you are shooting a fight sequences, like a karate sequence between two people who are wearing some kind of a dress, and they are fighting across different backgrounds. And in an actual world, they will all be in front of a green screen. But when you put a camera in front of them, which is running Unreal Engine 5, it actually on your TV screen that you see, you'll actually see both of them transported in the actual environment, which you'll see in the film. So what it does, basically, what I mean to say is Unreal Engine 5 will actually play a very important role in creating this amazing world of metaverse. And that is being used right now in the world of creating of movies and games. But gradually, as the computing power of metaverse increases, that's one of the things that will come in to build those world of experiences. So tomorrow, if you want to go sit on your chair, take your smart glass, and you say you want to get transported to, say, the sets of the latest movie of Star Wars, right? And if it's on the metaverse, you just wear and you go in and you play the role of Han Solo, for example, right? Similarly for games, right? While movie is still a one-way experience, games is where it makes all the difference. Where you play a character, you play someone into the metaverse, in the metaverse, on point. So if you watch this film called Ready Player One, I'll request everyone, if whoever has not seen that film, to go in. That's exactly what metaverse is going to be. So you become someone else. I can become Han Solo in the gaming world. Han Solo be my avatar. I go into the gaming world and I can play games. I can earn again in virtual currencies, and I can lead a very, very different life as my digital avatar than what I am in my real avatar. Right? So the entire film will explain to you what actually metaverse is in a very, very nice narrative way. So my request would be everyone to go and watch that film whenever you get time. The other thing being the communication tech, right? Like, for example, you and I, all of us are talking on Zoom today. It's a 2D environment where there's a screen in front of us. All of this can become really highly interactive where hologram technology, they've already come in, but yeah, in metaverse, when you actually mix hologram technology with metaverse and you make all of this really, really interactive. So for example, if I wear this, I'm in a dais, and everyone I can see sitting in front of me in front of me, like so many of you, right? And you are your avatars. So I can talk to all of you right in front of me, right? Yeah, and the last two piece I want to talk about is immersive commerce. So one of the reason why Meta actually is getting into Facebook is getting into Meta, because all of their apps, whether it's Facebook or Instagram, they have the potential to be very, very immersive. So imagine today you shop on Instagram just by scrolling through different articles. Tomorrow, what you do is you actually get into a metaverse version of Instagram where you can look at a product in 3D, experience that product, like make your avatar wear that product and see how it's looking, and then buy it, right? So it's actually not only digital commerce, but also you can actually try it and then get it delivered to your home. So it's a mix of virtual as well as real. And the last piece, one of the pieces that Sandrina also touched base was Edtech. So imagine you want to study in MIT, you get into MIT, but you actually don't travel to US. You actually get into the metaverse and experience the entire course of MIT. And also what happens is with the immersive technology, you actually get to learn things in a much broader, in much more detailed way, because in front of you, you actually see everything in a 3D environment than just hear or see it in a 2D. So that's it from my end. Really, really thank you for spending time on a Sunday morning.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. We can now have a question answer session. Again, anyone in the audience who would like to ask any questions, please raise your hand. Okay, there is another question. Anagha, could you please unmute?
Yeah. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I'm Anagha from Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham. Knowing that you're more interested in the consumer behavior segment, so I would just like to ask, are you how much you're sure consumers are ready for accepting the metaverse in that, after hearing, I guess that the youngsters who are more into the gaming field, they will be feeling more excited for this metaverse. But seeing from the consumer's view, which include the whole society, not only focusing on the youngsters, how far you think that they are ready for accepting metaverse?
Thank you. Very good question, Anaga. So what I want to say is we are still scratching the surface. Metaverse is the next form of internet, right? It's the next form of immersive experience. It will take time, right? At one point in time when internet was just a concept, the present internet that we're experiencing now, right? Youngsters are always the early adopters because they have the knack to kind of go and test out things. Rest of the society, it took some amount of time for it to become a normal way of life, right? Like, for example, everything is with habit. When smartphone came into being, youngsters and techies were the first to kind of shift from a feature phone to a smartphone. Today, let me tell you that my parents, who are like 70 years old, they were the last ones to get into smartphone, right? Because the thing is, it takes time for any consumer, depending on what their knack is, how they're comfortable with, to get into a technology. Yes, right now, gamers and youngsters will definitely embrace metaverse to begin with, but gradually, as it becomes a normal way of life, it will be embraced by the wider section of the community. That's my belief.
Yes, sir.
That will take time, a lot of time.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Wishing you a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anagha. Thank you, sir. Next, we have Gaurav. Gaurav, could you please unmute?
Good morning, sir. My name is Gaurav. I'm from Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham. So my question is, India is still a developing country, and therefore most of the latest technology takes some time to fit into the Indian environment. How long do you think will India take to adapt such an advanced technology environment?
If you ask me time, I won't be able to tell you how much time it will take. But what I can tell you is that, yes, India is a growing economy. And let me also tell you that India is one of the very unique market in the world, which is actually technologically more advanced than any other country, right? So you will see how much of tech startups are coming up in our country, right? So it's in a growth phase, I would say. India would definitely, there is a certain section of community, especially youngsters, right? Like a majority of our population are basically below the age of 35. And they're the first one to embrace new technology. But however, to break into that mold in this market, I think one of the most important point being the access tech, right? For example, if you want to experience metaverse, you need to have smart glasses, for example, right? Or even you want to make it more accessible. How can you build the best of metaverse experience on your smartphone and the cheapest of smartphone, right? For example, in India is a very price sensitive market. For example, if you really want to build out a smart glass, which is embraced by the wider section of community in this country, you have to lower the prices. You cannot have a 35,000, 40,000 smart glass, 40,000 rupees smart glass to kind of experience metaverse. So those are some of the challenges that needs to be figured out. But what I can definitely tell you is that I'm so proud of the tech talent in this country that I would say that before any other country, this country will come up with a solution before than anyone else.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have Vishnu. Vishnu, could you please unmute? Vishnu, am I audible? Seems like Vishnu is not available right now. We'll go with the next question. Ibani MD, could you please unmute?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Do you think metaverse will become the new normal, or is there something else that can come up which can beat this particular virtual world?
Sorry, I did not get the question. Can you repeat it, Ibani?
Do you think metaverse will become the new normal, or is there something else that can come up which can beat this particular virtual world?
I think it's too early to say whether metaverse will become the new normal. As I said, specifically if you're talking about India or any growing country, it takes some time for this tech to become new normal. But what I know definitely is that it has tremendous potential, and making the right use of it, embracing the right technology, getting the right tech to make it accessible is what it will drive to make it a new normal. How much time it will take, I think that's debatable.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Vinny. Next, we have Mr. Arun asking a question. Mr. Arun, can you please unmute?
Thank you. So thank you, Mr. Tamakna Ghosh, for that wonderful session. And my doubt is, like, 5G is coming up in India, as you know, and how do you see it helping the advancing metaverse business in India, and especially to the gaming players?
Yeah, 5G is a very, very instrumental piece in the entire immersive experience and gamification, right? Because that is what will actually help in increasing the speed. So, for example, and reducing the latency. So, for example, tomorrow, if you are getting into a metaverse experience of, say, Valorant, right? If Valorant comes up with a metaverse experience where thousands of players across the country is actually getting into and playing out a tournament, right? For that, you need really, really high broadband experience. And as you're aware, most of the people in India are on mobile phone, correct? So how do you, so 5G becomes a very, very crucial thing in kind of building the connection between different access points to the cloud servers and the gaming servers, so that the transfer of data is increased and there is less of latency, which means that if you're in the middle of if you're in the middle of a tournament, then what the action that you're taking at your point in time, the transfer of that, the entire latency period really, really reduces, and it's instant. And all of this is basically driven by 5G.
Okay, so thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Arun. Next, we have Aman Kumar. Aman, could you please unmute?
Good morning, sir. Sir, I wanted to ask about what are the risks involved in, for example, when Internet 2.0 came, there were several risks which came, like privacy issues, security issues. So are there any risks from a consumer user point of view as well in Metaverse platform as well?
See, everything has a risk, right? It completely depends on how you yourself as a human being are aware of those and take precautions, right? So, for example, I'll tell you, if I don't know if you have used Oculus, right? If you use Oculus for a long time, you feel vertigo. I mean, I told you I can't use Oculus more than 10 minutes because somewhere I feel that it's more like a claustrophobic feeling. It's more like, I'm not getting used to the entire thing of something in front of my eyes. So yes, there are risks associated with everything. Even internet today has so many risks, right? At one point in time, payment across internet was a risky affair. But today, so many technologies have come up where payment has become so secured. Like everyone is doing digital payments now. So yes, risk always stays with advancement of technologies. But again, technologies come up to beat those risks. But as a human being, as all of us as responsible consumers, we need to be aware what is risky for us. Because what is risky for me may not be risky for you. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Aman. Next, we have Srishti Singh. Could you please unmute? Srishti? Looks like she is not available. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your valuable time. And it was a very wonderful session. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you. Lovely talking to all of you.
Moving on. Now we would like to invite Mr. Santosh, co-founder and CM of Elevo, a physics graduate with an interest in quantum mechanics. Mr. Santosh changed course to turn into a B School graduate. He has over 18 years of experience in consumer research, communication design, and experience in engineering, and heads the marketing and sales at Elever. Coming from a non-financial background, Mr. Santosh felt the lack of personalized and unbiased investment planning solutions firsthand. He discovered the gap in the advisory industry, especially for people only with limited or intermediate financial skills. From actively performing on stage to discovering insightful customer stories as a brand researcher plus strategist, to finally creating many brands, personas, and stories as a communication expert. To this end, he started his own venture, his first stab at entrepreneurship more than a decade ago, creating a platform that merged creative arts with technology to build immersive content and brand experiences. Before turning an entrepreneur again, Mr. Santosh has headed creative duties for brands such as ClearTrip, Quaker, Tata Tea, Tata Coffee, etc. Inviting you, sir, for your insightful words.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay. So firstly, just apologies before I start in advance. I'm just coming out of a bad viral fever, so I might cough in the middle. So sorry about that. But firstly, thank you so much for the organizers for having me, and also the co-speakers before this. Yeah, it was an absolutely great learning even for me from a point of view of wherever I come from. And my background is a little similar to Munna also, where I come more from the consumer and the brand side, and how technologies and innovations impact consumers more than the actual technology itself. So from that point of view, I think a lot of things have already been covered, and also like the students and everyone has been kind of listening in very patiently. So I'll try and not delve into too many things that has already been touched upon. I'll talk about a few things that I personally have kind of experienced, both not necessarily only as a metaverse phenomena, but also in terms of technology in general and how it kind of tends to impact, and what are the kind of the way in which it gets adopted into society and how it kind of really pans out. And one thing which specifically to metaverse, which I would like to kind of touch upon, which I think just in the last couple of questions just got hinted upon, was actually the challenges of metaverse, right? And like Dagmana was mentioning, with anything, just like with anything, there is pros, there are cons as well. And one needs to be be a little sensitive in terms of what they are. We should need to know so that you can kind of prepare yourself to kind of meet once the world becomes a lot more mainstream for everyone. So that is one thing. And finally, one thing which I will definitely, which also the organizers requested me to kind of talk about, was the opportunities, especially when it comes to career, right? With this whole metaverse building, how would it probably kind of evolve, right? So firstly, I would just like to start by saying that, just to put a historical context to the whole thing, right now, and just like most times in life, there are buzzwords, right? Every generations have buzzwords. So internet and digital and all those things were buzzwords. Now crypto and NFTs and all these things are buzzwords. Some people are excited about it. Some people are skeptical about it. And it is natural. And that is usually how humans, we tend to kind of have reactions to. Now, but one thing is for sure, that the rate at which technology evolves, that has definitely made what we kind of take for granted for living our lives change rapidly. The change of technology has kind of made the progress in our lifestyles a lot more rapid. Just to give you an example, when I started working, and in spite of all my grades, I still haven't hit 20 years. It's like I started 2005, 2006, right? Back then, be it professionally or personally, there has literally been, apart from say email, there is nothing that existed back then, which today almost 95% of which we kind of take for granted. We can't think our lives without it. For example, there was no WhatsApp, there was no Instagram, there was no Zoom, there was no video calling, there was barely even online shopping. I mean, people were still making a case to people like why it is convenient to shop online, and people were still not very convinced. There were no food delivery apps, there were no ride-hailing apps. These, no YouTube, nothing, right? So it is almost impossible to imagine all these things not being there in all our lives today. But it didn't exist when I actually started work, right? And that is kind of gives you a sense of how rapidly technology evolves. And yes, they do come with certain challenges. They do have their own sets of idiosyncrasies that we have to kind of watch out for. But that doesn't necessarily stop what is the inevitable march of time, and that is, as technology evolves, as more allied technology evolves, like for allied technology, like we were just talking about 5G as a platform, right? Because as 5G evolves, your bandwidth increases, your immersive experiences potential increases. So these are all allied businesses, which kind of adds into the central piece of the technology. Now, that was just to kind of give you an idea of basically technology makes the shift far more rapid. Right? What used to take 50, 60, 80 years for revolution to happen, like the TV revolution, to go from radio to TV, it probably took 35, 40 years. But moving from a telephone, like a normal landline telephone, to mobile, it was like rapid, right? In fact, I still remember I didn't even get a chance to even understand how the pager technology even worked, because it kind of came in and went out while I was still in college. So I never even got a pager in my life. So that is how rapidly technology evolves, right? Now, coming to the challenges, right? And this is an important thing that it is important for us to kind of be aware. And some of the things that I will share, but it is by no means exhaustive. There will be different kinds of challenges that we don't even know about yet, because as the experiences continue, as more and more people start using it, as it gets adopted by more and more people, different sets of challenges emerge, right? But one which already was just hinted upon was privacy. Indeed, privacy, right? Because you're talking about a world in metaverse where it is not just sensory, in the sense it is not just about what you see and what you hear, right? It is about what you experience, right? It is about what you can touch, what you can feel. All of those things become important. And when you kind of get into that kind of a territory, a whole new set of Pandora's box kind of opens up. Even I think about a year or so ago, already there was a complaint of a woman who kind of strapped on to her Oculus kind of to go into a commercial, a virtual experience. And she was harassed, and there was a complaint that was raised. But on what basis does anybody get prosecuted? Because we still don't have a regulatory framework to kind of look into which kind of governs these things, because we still don't know how these things work, right? It is still very fluid. It is still a learning experience for everyone, right? And that becomes the second chain. So privacy is one where a lot of your information is out there, much more than what it is currently as well. That can be up for grabs. Secondly, there is no regulatory framework yet which defines how safely you can kind of experience the metaverse. That is the next thing. The other thing also becomes equality, right? Equality, because like again, we were talking about Oculus or any of these VR headsets, that is one of the main principal devices with which you can experience this metaverse. And right now, it is not a very affordable thing. Yes, it will become more and more affordable, but also your allied businesses like 5G networks and all of those things have to be in place for you to be able to kind of participate into that world in a more meaningful manner and have the same opportunity to either launch your business or participate in some sort of a NFT transaction or anything of that sort. That same may be a person kind of sitting in Norway or Switzerland is kind of able to do it effortlessly. So will the same person, if that person is sitting in, say, Africa, do they have the same right? So equality becomes another aspect. So there are definitely a few challenges that kind of come up, and not to mention challenges like mental health. It is all very exciting, but if think of yourself being in a 24/7 immersive experience, which is a virtual reality, is that a good thing? At least in my head, doesn't seem all that great. While it has immense potential, absolutely no doubts about that, it does have a lot of downsides as well, because mental health is an issue. Even physical health is an issue. Like Manu was talking about, like he's unable to kind of wear that headset beyond 10 minutes, because as of now, the technology is such that it can be very cumbersome to kind of, participate in the metaverse, because it is not a very effortless experience. So mental health, physical health, all of these things do have ramifications, and one needs to be very, very aware of it. I don't have answers in terms of what are the ways to exactly solve for all these issues or any of the things that will come. But having said that, the broader point, the meta point, so to speak, is that shouldn't, of course, be the reason why metaverse should be blocked or stopped or anything like that. That's just stupid. That is arguing against the case for the internet or something like that. Because as technology evolves, technology is there. The fundamental role of technology in our society is to make our experiences better in the world, right? So how do we calibrate it right? While that will definitely be a question that all of us collectively we'll need to face. And the reason why I say it collectively is because sooner rather than later, this is going to also become a policy level issue. This is going to be a government level issue, right? How do you create a framework for the entire metaverse? What goes, what doesn't go, and so on and so forth, right? So those kind of things definitely comes into play. So that is definitely the second main aspect that I wanted to touch on. The third thing, and this is probably, as a lot of students are here, and that is why they will be kind of very keen to know in terms of the career opportunities. Now, let me put it this way. Even when this whole digital revolution was going on about 15 odd years ago, I had this very strong theory back then, and it has only kind of reinforced it given my experience over time as well. And that is, when, just to take the digital example, if you talk about what do you do in the digital medium, okay, that's kind of a self-defeating attitude, in the sense that, because if you think of something as a medium only, right, that kind of narrows your focus in terms of how you can think about stuff within it. So for example, if you think about digital as a medium, then you will think websites, or you will think social media and things like that, right? Versus, you need to kind of think about it as ideas or solutions for a digital age. The moment you recraft your thinking in that perspective, things change, right? Because then you're not necessarily looking at individual elements like website and one Instagram post or something of that sort, but what you're actually doing is looking at the entire board and looking at your consumer and saying that, okay, so this person today, he or she is kind of watching the surfing the web on the laptop. They also have a smartphone. They also have a wearable device. They also have all of these things. And there are these multiple sources of information that this person is being bombarded with. How do you make a case for yourself, for your company, for your product to this person? That expands your focus, expands the way you will think of solutions. And the same thing applies also for a metaverse. Metaverse will definitely require certain skill sets to be learned. There is no way around that, right? Just the way social media strategist as a role didn't exist 15 years ago, and now it's one of the two very, very important roles, right? So there will be certain roles, and especially the more technology-driven your area, the more specific technologies, the actual technicalities that you will need to learn. There is no doubts about that. Having said that, there is not going to be a substitute for your thinking. The way people thought of promoting or marketing or even building a product or creating a product 50 years ago, that fundamental thinking, that innovative thinking, looking at a consumer need gap and trying to solve a problem, that at the heart of it is never going to change. And especially when it comes to things like, say, communication or entertainment, the differential will always be creativity, right? Because it doesn't matter how immersive, say, an experience is, what really will attract you to a game is going to be the creative storytelling, the narrative of the game itself, right? So for a person who has kind of created a game which is very immersive, great, that is a novelty factor for maybe about a year. As more and more games start becoming just as immersive and just as fertile in to kind of experience, then again the differential starts coming down back to what is the game about, what is the gameplay like, what is the the story. So is it first person, is it an open world game, what, all of those things. So the critical thing when it comes to a career, the core roles of understanding consumers and understanding the need gaps, trying to solve problems, those things are going to be applicable like they have always been. Having said that, what you will learn are those important things based on your domain and your specializations to kind of help deliver that, right? So that is the other main thing that I really want to kind of touch upon today. And so I hope I have been able to kind of add to the conversation and the overall thing compared to all the speakers. Once again, thanks to them and for the organizers. So yeah, that was pretty much from my side. So that was helpful.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. We'll now have the question answer session. Audience, please raise your questions. Any questions? Yes, Mansi, could you please unmute? Hello?
Yeah, hello. Yeah. How will the metaverse unfold and transform enterprises?
I think a lot of the speakers have already answered that before, but just to kind of add my perspective is there as well. See, the enterprise in any era exists because they are there to serve a certain need of the society, right? So that is not going to change. While metaverse, and the key thing for even metaverse is that as long as you're able to add value to that experience to the society as a whole, then that is how enterprises really kind of become meaningful players in this space.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mansi. Next, we have Aman Kumar. Could you please unmute?
Good morning, sir.
Hi,
Sir, I
Aman.
wanted to ask, apart from gaming and entertainment related industry, which all are the industries which will make the most out of this metaverse?
Well, there is a lot. So like for me, one of the prime applications for this will be a field like education, right? Especially for those experiential education where practical knowledge, that practical skills are extremely important. That could be a game changer. Like for example, if you're joining an MBBS course today, right? You're not even allowed to kind of touch the patient until you are like 6 years into the course and things like that, right? But just imagine through the metaverse, if you're able to start performing surgeries in the virtual world from day one, imagine the kind of quality of surgeons that you will kind of start producing, because you will be able, even before you touch the first real person, if you have already performed hundreds of operations in the virtual world, you would be that much of a better surgeon from day one. So that instinctively kind of thing comes to my mind as a great application of metaverse. Similarly, things like engineering in projects, which again, unless and until you can't learn a lot of things on the book. You have to do certain things. You have to build certain things, and of course, it is not practical to do a lot of those things in real life. But when you're able to kind of do it using these kind of technologies, that becomes a game changer, not just for the individual, but society as a whole.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Aman. Next, we have Sritin Ravindran. Sritin, can you please unmute?
Yeah, so how do you think metaverse can transform this nation, and like what all fields would it be applicable to?
Like I said, education is definitely one, because education is the silver bullet, especially for a country like developing country like ours, because as if metaverse can kind of give that access to every student the same level of learning, if it can kind of democratize learning for every person in this country. I mean, that would pretty much be a game changer in itself for the country. But there are many other applications of it. Even in commerce itself, right? Sorry. Even in commerce itself, there are a lot of things that are possible, which kind of can kind of augment the real world in a way, so to speak. So, like for example, can the whole transport system that is there today, can that be kind of completely reimagined? Because metaverse will let you kind of travel the world without having to kind of do a lot of these carbon emissions, creating carbon footprints and all of that. So sustainability, travel, all of those things kind of have a very real world impact, which is much beyond than just entertainment, right? So yeah, those ways definitely it can kind of help the country and the world.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Sritin. Next, we have Mr. Patrick. Could you please unmute?
Good morning. So seeing the growth of blockchain, NFTs, and metaverse worldwide, what is your take of the growth of metaverse in our country and in this in the Indian subcontinent?
So I feel that the growth is inevitable. That is like I said, it'll be silly to even assume that it will not grow, because technology always evolves. Will metaverse evolve into exactly how we are talking about it? No way to know. But one thing is for sure, that our digital versions are becoming more and more important, not just for our day-to-day lives, for our businesses, for our interaction, for our learnings, but also in a manner of how they kind of relate to us. Like we are putting more and more emphasis on our digital selves, on our digital avatars. So while the growth of anything which is virtual is guaranteed given how we are already evolving as a society, but the trick I feel from the way we would really benefit out of the entire experience is if we can add to our real world experiences and enrich them rather than substitute them, because that might be, at least in my head, seems like not a great way to kind of go, that there is absolutely no replacement in any sort of metaverse, at least in my head, and going on a bike all the way from Manali to Ladakh. There is no substitute for that. But if there is a way for us to kind of augment those kind of experiences, then that can be an possibility. But it's bound to happen, and sooner than later. And that's what I think.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have Ms. Anakha. Anakha, could you please unmute?
Yes, good morning, sir. So, now everyone is talking about metaverse and everything. That means, I should expect a question from my placement team, like asking me how well you are prepared for accepting metaverse in your future. Like, what all skills you think you have for accepting such a new technology, not a new technology, something new that is. So, what should be my answer? Like, yes, I have this much skills, and this will be making me comfort to adapt to this new metaverse thing.
Okay. First and foremost, I think the most important thing that one needs to understand about equipping yourself with skills to kind of go into this world is that understand that even the people who are at the cutting edge of metaverse, even they are innovating as present. So there isn't a fixed curriculum which already exists that you can kind of go to that particular university or do that particular course and be absolutely a master of metaverse. It doesn't happen. I think the most important thing from a placement point of view, what you need to probably tell students about is it is as much about skills and upskilling yourself as you have to kind of up your attitude to learning itself, right? Because as this technology evolves, it is important for you to be in a frame of mind that you're hungry to kind of keep adapting and keep learning. You are never going to kind of get into a space where you say that, okay, now I know everything about metaverse because it might change 2 years later, right? So that is always going to be a reality. What is important is to have that attitude for not just students, I would say, even for us, even for teachers especially, to kind of be on the ball in terms of knowing what are the latest things which are happening, understanding what the implications of those things are, and at how it kind of filters in at a skill set level. And if at the end of it, you've identified that one thing which kind of makes sense compared to the thing that you want to try and want to enter, then learning that is the right way to approach, rather than just looking at saying these are the 5 skills, so let me go and do courses and all of those things. That probably is not the right way. Personally, is what I would feel. I hope that answered that question.
Yeah, sir. Thank you. Thank you a lot.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Next, we have Aditya Rao. Aditya, could you please unmute?
Hello, sir. My question is that do you see future of metaverse in the cinema sector, cinemas, world cinema? Like,
absolutely. I think Munna was just talking about it, right? I mean, and he would be a much better person to talk about it than I would be on that subject. But yeah, I think he also gave a lovely example of you being able to kind of experience a movie set by the virtue of metaverse, and kind of entering that world and kind of being a character and experiencing the life of a particular character. So I think, yeah, when it comes to entertainment, sorry, cinema, I mean, those would probably be the pioneers when it comes to metaverse, because they are already on the forefront of a lot of innovations which is already happening. So yeah, so that will definitely be one of the big industries for this.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Aditya. Again, sir, thank you so much for the session. It was very nice listening to you talk.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
By that, we are coming to an end of today's event. Now I invite Ms. Naureen S., Event Manager, passionate in marketing, to propose a vote of thanks.
Good afternoon to one and all. I deem it a great honor and opportunity to propose the vote of thanks for today's Passionate in Marketing, Marketers in Conversation on Dive into Metaverse event. On behalf of the entire participants, may I take this opportunity to express heartfelt thanks to all our speakers. My heartfelt thanks to Mr. Amanjot Malhotra, Country Head, Pichai, for introducing Metaverse and its opportunities and technologies that enables it. Thank you, Ms. Sandrina, Vice President, Guardian Link, for touching upon the applications of Metaverse, like in advertising, retail businesses, education, and how cryptocurrencies and NFTs have a significant role in shaping the future of Metaverse and enabling transaction in this new world. Thank you, Mr. Tamanna Ghosh, Managing Director, Trailer Park Group, APAC, for talking about how Metaverse takes human connection to the next level with immersive, unreal experience and what promises the Metaverse hold for entertainment and gaming investors. Thank you so much, Mr. Santosh R., co-founder and CMO of Eliver, for talking about rapid technology evolution that makes Metaverse possible, foreseeing challenges like privacy issues, health hazards, the need for regulatory frameworks, and also emerging job opportunities and skill sets essential for them. Thank you all the speakers of the day for being with us today in spite of your busy schedule. I would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to Mr. Arun K. Nair, Business Manager, PM, for the welcome address. I would also like to express our heartfelt gratitude to the various brands and PR agencies for all the support extended to us to organize this event. I take this opportunity to express heartfelt thanks to people from the industry, academicians from various reputed institutions across the country, and the students from various institutes. I would like to thank all the members of Maxit community members, team members of PIM, and all the participants for the extended support. A lot of hands have been working hard on the success of this event, and definitely wouldn't have been possible without the support extended by members of our passionate and marketing family. Thank you all the support and cooperation. Thanks to all once again. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you one and all once again for your valuable time and participation. By this, we conclude the event. Thank you.